Well, hey students, glad to be in touch with you again, and I wanted to share a few points with you. We're in Module 4 now of this series of modules, and this week we're talking largely about corporal punishment, but we're carrying forward with the same discussion about authoritarian, authoritative, and permissive parenting. And you know, this whole discussion reminds me of the book It Takes a Village, which is written by Hillary Clinton. But it's interesting because the author that I mentioned earlier, which is Diane Baumrind, is actually the one that's kind of the backbone of her whole premise of her book, and that is that you know, this whole issue of authoritarian versus authoritative parenting, and of course then the permissive and the negligent parenting are central themes in her book. And so one of the things I wanted to tell you is a big part of the authoritarian type parent is the use of corporal punishment. While as we get into the other areas, we start looking at authoritative, which might resort to corporal punishment only infrequently, and then the permissive parent would never think of using corporal punishment. And so the question then becomes is, if let's say one child hurts another child, is it wise to hurt that child, to show that child that it's not right to hurt another child? It seems kind of illogical, and so that's where some of this comes into play. That you know, you don't make a point by doing the exact same thing to the child that the child did to someone else. If you follow basically any kind of a criminal justice theme in this, that it's not fair to physically harm someone when all they've ever done is destroy property. So this is an ongoing discussion throughout this course, but it is important to see, and it seems pretty straightforward, that the authoritarian parent is going to swear by corporal punishment. The authoritative parent would only use it sparingly, and the permissive parent would use it not at all, and in fact would claim, oh, it's illegal, you can't do it. And for many people, the failure to use corporal punishment because the law says I cannot use corporal punishment is really a form of an excuse. I mean, they're putting it back on Uncle Sam or somebody that, hey, it's not my fault, I can't raise them right, they won't let me. The truth is that in most states, corporal punishment is still authorized. I know in my home state, Indiana, it is specifically authorized by statute, although it is also clear that this corporal punishment should not be excessive. And that's the problem that you get into with corporal punishment. You kind of walk a really fine line about how much is too much and how much is just right and how much is not enough. You know, other people have had great success with their children in upbringing without ever using corporal punishment once. And that's, if you can find the motivator, what motivates that child, what do they really like, and take that away from them, that may be just as effective as any kind of physical punishment. Other people I've seen have used things like additional chores in terms of punishment. The worst thing I think that you can say to someone is go to your room and do your homework, because you want them to do their homework. And if you consider homework as punishment, then here again you're setting yourself up for failure, because you're not couching homework in the right light. I mean, you want homework to be a good thing, not a punishment. So this is just a number of thoughts that I've gotten from the different readings I've seen. There's a wide range of people in your book, beginning at page 59, that talk about the different studies on corporal punishment. The problem with corporal punishment and the studies is that so often the methodology is flawed. Like with so many things in social research, there's other things at play here, not just the corporal punishment, but also other things that is happening in the dynamics of the family. So it can be that the corporal punishment is just one dimension of a larger problem that cuts through the entire family structure. And that could be just that the whole course of life is just so overbearing, and the parent is just so much involved in telling the child what to do every moment of every waking hour, that corporal punishment is just a small part of the bigger issue. Also, there are other studies out there, and so some of these ones that we look at, you know, that discipline of any kind, like corporal punishment, but any kind of discipline is a bad thing, and that is extremely foolish thinking. In other words, just let the child roam and be free, and kind of like some of the flower children of the 60s. And this is just not good at all. There have to be limits, there have to be boundaries, and it's just important to find that perfect combination of kindness, patience, goodness, explaining things, and then saying, hey, there's a line that's saying this is it, you cannot cross this line, and if you do, there will be consequences. So this is important. Keep this in mind, look at it. We want you to journal on this week, and that's just basically look at what you can find. Any kind of even pop, that is P-O-P, pop, cultural, you know, like People magazine or whatever. You can look anywhere and just add things together. Of course, I always prefer that we include at least some of the peer-reviewed resources. And in your book, there's a lot of discussion about Baumrind. Diane,